Zaldrizes buzdaris gosdau.
With House of the Dragon Season 2's filming process now completely wrapping down and they're moving into post-production, I decided I would run back through and list every single new character that will be appearing in a named role in House of the Dragon Season 2. There are some other characters, some pretty big actors that are speculated to play some pretty big roles, but I'm not going to mention them too much in this video because that's kind of speculation. HBO hasn't confirmed it yet. Before I jump into any of that, if you thoroughly enjoyed this video after you watch it, please subscribe to my channel here on YouTube. That's the #1 best thing you could do for anybody you're a fan of who makes content that you enjoy. Also, if you're feeling so inclined, please slap a like on this video. Like code's gonna be 420. Get it? Okay, so first up we have Kieran Bew. Now, this dude's going to be playing a character known as Hugh Hammer. Hugh Hammer is one of the Dragon Seeds who end up betraying Rhaenyra alongside Ulf White. Basically, this dude Hugh Hammer claims the Mount of Vermithor, and right before a really big battle decides to switch sides to the Greens, then ultimately dies anyway. So once again, this dude Hugh Hammer is going to be played by this actor Kieran Bew. I'm not familiar with any of his work, and in my opinion, that's kind of a good thing. You want an actor, at least what we've learned from Game of Thrones, the actors who work the best are ones who are not necessarily known for crazy big roles. They're going to be blown up from appearing in the series because they have so much talent. Like for instance, if you take a stage actor, put them on screen, nobody's really heard of them, and they do really well, then their career blows up. And in my opinion, I feel like they do a better job on the show because of that, because they know that they have, a lot riding on this. It could potentially project them into the stratosphere when it comes to levels of fame and making money and being famous. So anyway, Kieran Bew plays Hugh Hammer. He's going to ride Vermithor. Vermithor is the old king's dragon. In specific, in Season 1, House of the Dragon, Episode 10, Daemon sings him that song. Then next up, we have this dude who's going to be playing Silver Dennis. This is actor that, once again, I've never heard of him, but his name is Robert Rhodes, right? He's going to be playing Silver Dennis, and Silver Dennis, for those who are unaware, is the dragon seed who claims descendancy from King Maegor the Cruel. Now, initially, one of Silver Dennis's ancestors actually shows up at the Great Council 101 AC, the opening scene of this episode. In the books, one of Silver Dennis's ancestors shows up there and claims to descend from a bastard of Maegor the Cruel. Maegor the Cruel didn't officially have any legitimate children. All the ones that he did have were poisoned by his brides. So it's kind of an interesting, dragon seed to pop up. So initially, he's like, yo, I'm Targaryen, I'm going to claim a dragon. So what he does is he tries to go and claim a dragon named Sheepstealer. And then Sheepstealer rips his arm off. Literally, rips his arm off. And then all of his sons come rushing around him, right? And then the chaosness and the blood spewing everywhere draws Cannibal, who's a dragon that got the name Cannibal from eating other hatchlings inside Dragonstone in the Dragon Mount where the dragons lay their eggs, right? There's this wild dragon known as Cannibal, and he swoops down and eats Silver Dennis and all of his kids. It's crazy. It's a really crazy scene, right? But for the TV show, I don't know if that's going to happen. Robert Rhodes does not at all look old enough to have several sons that are old enough to, go with him to go and claim a dragon. Now, obviously, that could put heavy makeup on him and make him older. I just don't think that's going to be the case. I feel like he's just going to be a dude who kind of looks like a Chad. He kind of looks a little bit pompous. Shows up and he's like, I'm Silver Dennis. I'm going to claim a dragon. And then maybe we'll try to go claim Sheepstealer. He will probably get his arm ripped off and just will get eaten by one of the other, dragons, obviously probably Cannibal, right? But what's interesting is I've actually been sent some leaks that said that Rhaenyra and Daemon are obviously involved in the dragons taming their dragon seeds, and this dude Silver Dennis kind of volunteers to be the first one, and after he goes and fails miserably, this is where Daemon and Rhaenyra supposedly impart advice on some of the other potential dragon riders. Like for instance, Daemon supposedly tells Nettles to try to claim Sheepstealer by using mutton because he notices that the dragon's always stealing from the shepherds, right? And then Rhaenyra supposedly tells some of the other dragon seeds to potentially try to claim a dragon that's been ridden before. So this is where you have characters like Hugh Hammer claiming Vermithor and also Ulf the White claiming Silverwing. So Silver Dennis is going to be played by Robert Rhodes. And just sort of backtracking a bit, speaking of Ulf the White, there's not a confirmed casting for him, but there's some speculations. People online, myself included, have matched up this image of this actor Tom Bennett with, Ulf the White, who was standing in front, I think, standing in front of all the other dragon seeds I'm showing you in this image right now. They kind of look alike, but it's just a rumor. Take it with a grain of salt. A lot of these other castings are confirmed. We don't really have, as far as like a confirmed casting or even speculation really, for Nettles. Nettles is a dragon seed who will eventually start hooking up with Daemon, and then travel with Daemon to Harrenhal and spend a good majority of the show with him. A lot of people think it's his true love, right? But that hasn't been, an actress hasn't been put forward to be supposedly speculated to be casting that role, but we do have an image of the actress on set in the big picture of dragon seeds. But we got two more that are kind of confirmed, right? So one of them is Adam of Hall. Adam of Hall is going to be played by this dude named Clinton Liberty. And the most important thing to know about Adam of Hall is he is one word, loyal, right? So literally, as the war progresses, specifically after the Battle of the Gullet, it's clear that Rhaenyra's dragon seeds were not a bad decision, right? Ultimately, when she seats the throne in King's Landing and, you know, the events of the war, all the PTSD that she's suffering from all the tragic events that have happened in such a short period, along with her advisors, force her to start turning on her advisors. And specifically, it's the betrayal of Ulf White and Hugh Hammer defecting over to the Greens that make her no longer trust any of the dragon seeds. So she sends out people to go and try to kill Adam of Hull, but he's tipped off and he ends up escaping. Right? And instead of escaping and leaving the war altogether, he literally goes and still fights for Rhaenyra and dies. At what's known as a battle, it's like the second version of an original battle that took place in Tumbleton. It's literally called the Second Battle of Tumbleton. But basically, what ends up happening is Adam of Hull sneaks into the Greens camp at nighttime. The Greens are completely unaware. By the time he actually takes the battlefield, it's specifically mentioned, right, that the two other dragon riders, I think one of them is Dayron, the other one is maybe Hugh Hammer, they're already dead, right, by the time Adam is on the scene. He ends up going and attacking Vermithor, because Vermithor, who's riderless, is wreaking havoc and killing Adam's men on the ground, and also Vermithor's own men, right, Hugh Hammer's men, the Greens. So Adam, rushes in and attacks Vermithor and ends up dying, right, so Adam of Hall is ultimately loyal to Rhaenyra all the way up until death. Then we have another dragon seed who technically doesn't ride a dragon, but it's Adam's brother Alan. Alan's going to be played by Abu Bakr Salim, or Father, from Raised by Wolves. So really excited about that casting. He basically survives the entirety of the dance. His role will probably be increased. He'll have an increased presence in the latter seasons of the show. I think ultimately his plot with Corlys and secretly being fathered by Corlys and not Laenor is going to involve him having some scenes with the Valyrian soldiers as well. That's going to be really cool. Can't wait to see his character on screen. And then jumping out of Dragon Riders and just the named favorite or fan favorite characters, we have Gail Rankin. Follow her on Instagram. She's going to be playing Alice Rivers, and this was officially announced by HBO. If you're unaware, Alice Rivers is Aemon's love interest. So on the TV show, they wanted us to, secretly wish Helaena and Aemon were an item behind the scenes, right? They had several moments where Aemon and Helaena seem like they're kind of in love with each other, and then there's also the line of dialogue that young Aemon says to Aegon, like, yo, I would do my duty if that was my wife, right? So all of that, along with the fact that Fia Saban does an amazing job of playing Helaena, and Ewan Mitchell does an amazing job playing Aemon, right? We kind of wanted the two of them to get together. They're kind of perfect. Obviously, Aemon kills Lucerys accidentally at the end of the season, but ultimately before that point, people really wanted the two characters to get together. So anyway, Aemon's actual canonical love interest is this woman known as Alice Rivers. Alice Rivers is a character who you don't really hear much about when Daemon's at Harrenhal, which Daemon's going to be in Harrenhal this season, right? But according to leaks, we know that the two of them will have a scene together, right? They actually have dialogue where basically Daemon is slightly injured when he takes Harrenhal, and Alice is the one treating his wounds, right? So Alice kind of gets shoved away by Daemon after she mixes him a sleeping draft, right? And she tells him, I promise you, this is not poison. I know what would happen if I were to poison you, right? That was what some of the leaked dialogue was saying. But I've been sent some other leaks from a different source where I got that leak with, the scene with Alice. And that wasn't even really a source. It was literally put on the CV page for when actresses were auditioning for the role of Alice Rivers, right? So the dialogue's obviously going to change when it gets on screen. But I've been told that there's going to be a scene between Daemon and Alicent. Apparently they're going to be hooking up, and the person mentioned that this is Daemon's way of kind of getting over Rhaenyra. Obviously take that with a grain of salt. Nothing is confirmed until it airs on our screens, but Gail Rankin's going to be playing Alice Rivers. And another person for the green sides, we have this actor named Freddie Fox. He's going to be playing Gwaine Hightower. Gwaine Hightower's presence has been increased for the TV show. Initially, when the casting call went out for his character before Freddie Fox was cast, they said Gwaine needed to be able to ride a horse, but also need to be extremely funny and sing and like sort of entertain, be like the sort of the center of attention or the life of the party almost, is how the description sort of read. So this dude's going to be a very likable character, I feel like, or people will like to hate him, right? He's going to kind of be like pompous, right? I just hope my image of who he's going to be is kind of what we get on the screen. It's just like silly, goofy dude who's making jokes right at the most intense moments of the show. Like there was a leaked scene that was filmed with Freddie Fox playing Gwaine Hightower and Kristen Cole, right? And they were filming a scene where Gwaine wasn't ready, but he's the battle commander. So Cole has to run up behind him and say, "Get ready, put your armor on. We're going into battle." Right? And like Freddie's like playing around and like moving like sort of goofy, like hurrying up, trying to strap his sword, mount his horse and stuff. It's hilarious. So anyway, Freddie Fox is going to be playing Gwaine Hightower. Gwaine Hightower in the books is instilled as a leader of the Gold Cloaks by Sir Otto Hightower. It's his son, it's Alicent's brother. Ultimately, he's killed when Rhaenyra takes the city by the Gold Cloaks being still loyal to Daemon. Because remember, Daemon formed them. Daemon gave them armor. He literally gave them the Gold Cloaks that they wear. He formed them into the unit they are. So when the throne was usurped from Rhaenyra, obviously all of those dudes are still going to be loyal to Daemon because Daemon is married to the queen that should be in power. So his death will probably be the same, but his role will probably be increased. And then kind of moving things along a bit, we have two characters, Blood and Cheese. That's like the most famous names in the Dance of Dragons outside of Targaryens and actual dragons, right? Blood and Cheese are these two dudes. Blood is a former Gold Cloaks member. Cheese is a rat catcher. Both of them are hired by Daemon, right, via Massaria to go in and sneak into the Red Keep and kill Jaehaerys, right, who is obviously King Aegon's heir. Rhaenyra lost her son Lucerys. Daemon writes a letter to Rhaenyra after Lucerys' death before Blood and Cheese happens and says, "A son for a son," which is actually rumored to be one of the episode titles. Some leaks that were sent to me on Twitter claim that. But it's these characters. Blood, the former Gold Cloak, is going to be played by Sam C. Wilson, and Cheese will be played by an actor named Mark Stobart. And Blood and Cheese is going to be an intense scene. It's supposedly going to be happening in episode 2. The last cast member that I want to mention for this video is Lady Jane Eyre. She's going to be played by Mother, aka Amanda Collin from Raised by Wolves. Now there are a few other cast members, but for the most part, they're going to be playing super minor roles, right? So the most exciting ones are the ones I've mentioned for this video. Now, if you're unaware, Jane Eyre is related to Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra mentions that. She says that, I've got family in the Vale. Her mother was an Eyre. So Jane is the Lady of the Vale. She's called the Maiden of the Vale, really, when the show starts. What's interesting is that, according to Mushroom's version of events that happens when Jacaerys goes to the Vale and meets with her, she tells Jace that he has to bring her to climax if he wants the Vale to join their side. Obviously, it's probably not what's going to happen, although it'd be really cool to see. I would love to see that. That's probably not what's going to go down on the screen. It's probably going to be more so what she ends up actually saying later on in the books is that she will join Rhaenyra's sides, but she needs dragons. The fact that Jacaerys was able to just show up, kind of unannounced, fly right into the Vale, defeats the whole purpose of the Vale or the Eyrie itself as a castle, because it's literally supposed to be impenetrable. It's built into a mountain. There's no way to mount an assault on it because it's surrounded by sheer cliffs on all sides. But if you have flight capabilities, you can sort of surpass all of that and go direct shot into the Eyrie itself. So most likely what's going to happen is Jacaerys will say, okay, well, we will send you dragon riders. That's when he sends his brother Joffrey. We also saw Rhaena showing up in the Vale. She has a dragon egg with her canonically in the books. Maybe she'll have a tiny little baby dragon with her. Joffrey does have a dragon when he shows up, and according to some recent leaks, supposedly Aegon III will be joining her in the Vale because his character on the TV show is not going to be taking a part in the battle. So it'll be really interesting to see when all of these characters appear for the first time on our screens in Season 2 House of the Dragon. Alright, now this is a perfect point to wrap this video up. I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you could please slap a like on this video. Like goal is going to be 420. Get it? Also, super special shout out to every single member of my Patreon family that are members of the executive producer tier. Without them, these videos would not be possible. They are Tyler Schnabel, Pebbles83, Destiny Mix Queen, Phillips 420, my girl Breanne Johnson, and the North Must Remember. Thank you all so much for watching. Along not,